What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I figured today would be a great day to talk a little bit about volume. Volume is obviously something that I know some of you struggle with, which is totally okay. So first of all, I want to talk about what is volume. Volume is how much something is filled up. So if you took, for example, a milk carton, you filled it up with water. How much water goes in there is considered its volume. It's a little bit different than things like area and surface area, which we will talk about later. But volume is important when it comes to filling up swimming pools or things like that. It's a very real-world application. But let's look at an example question that you might see. So first off, volume of any shape is going to be its length times its width times its height. Now, not necessarily any shape, I guess that's not fully true. But it's going to be the use of those dimensions. It is a three-dimensional shape, so 3 dimensions will be required. So in this case, we've got, its width, its length, its height. But this is a triangular prism, so I've used this shape on purpose today because it's a little bit different. What I want to show you first off is this question is not actually asking you to find the volume. It's giving you the volume already. The reason I'm doing this type of question is because if you can answer this, you can answer any volume question that you're trying to find. So first off, it's giving you a volume is 182.8125 inches cubed. Gives you this triangular prism here, and it tells you that this length here is 7.5 inches, this length here is 15 inches, and this length here is x. Now, it's asking you, what is x? Whoa, a little bit more complex of a problem. However, if you know how to find volume, it's actually pretty easy, because volume is just a formula. Now, what's really cool about geometry is just a series of rules that you can follow. So if you know how to Google a formula or memorize one, then it's pretty easy. So volume of a regular shape would be something like volume is equal to length times width times height. Okay? Now this is a regular shape, something like a rectangular prism, even a cube. Technically a cube is s cubed, but different lesson. That being said, this is a rectangular prism. Our difference here is this is a triangular prism, which in reality is actually half of a rectangular prism, right? Just like a triangle, if I'm going to find area of a triangle, something like this, well, it's not really 7 times 6 is 42 to find that area. That's not exactly true, because that would find me this. Really, 7 times 6 divided by 2 is my area here. So really the area, 7 times 6 divided by 42 is 21 units squared, right? A little bit different. In this case, same principle applies for volume. This is a triangular prism, so it's exactly half. So really what I'm going to do is I'm going to do half of the length times the width times the height. Okay? So with that in mind, I take the information I do know and I plug it into the excuse me, I plug it into the situation. So for example, do I know what V is? V being volume? I do. Since I know that V is volume, I can replace it with 182.8125. That is equal to 1/2. Let's do some parentheses here. 1/2 of, do I know what my length is? I sure do. My length, which, now really this is more your base and length, and that alters, and really doesn't matter as long as you do the correct, put it in the correct spots. So I've got, we'll call this one is my length, so 7.5, we'll call that my L. So my L is taken care of. My width is 15 inches, so I'm going to put 15 here. And now my height, well, what's my height in this case? I don't know it. That's my X, the height of the triangle. So I am going to put X there. Now it just becomes a basic algebra problem that I have to solve. We've done algebra problems type before. If not, you have questions about it, let me know in the comments, and I'll be happy to add a new video for it. So now I'm going to do some solving. I'm going to do everything inside the parentheses first. So I'm going to do 7.5 times 15 first. So I end up getting 112.5. All right, so I've got 1/2 times 112.5 x. Now the only reason I brought the x over is if you multiply that in there, it's still just going to be this coefficient times x is equal to 182.8125. With me so far? So now I have to do my distributing here of the 1/2. So I'm going to have to do a half times this. 1/2 is just dividing it by 2. So I'm going to end up dividing 112.5 divided by 2. So I'll do that right here. This goes 1, which is 10. You end up getting 56.25. So now you've got 182.8125 is equal to 56.25x. Okay? So I take that information, I'm sorry, that's really sloppy, but I think you can read it. So 182.8125 is equal to 52, is equal to 56, goodness gracious, Mr. 0.25x. Okay, so now I need to find what x is, which is the whole point of this thing in the first place. So now I need to get x by itself. To get x by itself, obviously, when something's by itself, it's all alone, meaning just one, kind of like most of you are in quarantine. That being said, you're by yourself, so I'm taking this number, the 56.25, and dividing it by itself. I do that because 56.25 divided by 56.25 is just 1, so I'm left with x. And then I would divide this side by 56.25. So I'm going to use a trusty calculator here on this, which is something I advise you to do to always check your work, but I would definitely practice this division problem if you can. If you're struggling still with this kind of division, let me know in the comments. I'll make a video about it. So I'm going to do 182.8125 divided by 56.25, and you get 3.25. So that means my x, or my height in this case, is 3.25 inches. Okay? I could check my work. I could prove that by plugging it back into the equation. Right? So I could do 3.25 times 7.5, which is length, width, height, times 15, and divide that by 2, and you'll notice you get 181.8125 as the volume. Okay? So with that in mind, that's how to find volume using a triangular prism when you're given the volume, but you can take that information and find your own. Hope this helps. Don't forget to subscribe, throw a like, and have comments if you have some questions. Thanks, guys. Hey, guys. Something to add real quick, something that you might see. I always think it's important to, when somebody tries to throw you a curveball, that you're ready for it. You might end up seeing a shape like this. Now, this is still a triangular prism. It still would give you the volume, which I didn't write down right now because that's not important. We're not going to actually find it. And you still have to find x. So you'd still use that same formula, that v is equal to 1/2 length times width times height. The thing is, with a problem like this, you'll notice there's 4 numbers. A lot of times that throws people off because with geometry, it's very visual. You have to understand what you're seeing in the shape. So in a shape like this, I'm going to pull out this triangle right here. Okay, so I'm going to draw this triangle. You'll notice that's a terrible version of that triangle, but it's close enough. I have here this length of 27, I have 15, and then I have this length right here, which is called the hypotenuse of a triangle. You'll learn that when you get into higher grades working into geometry. So that's this length right here, which is also the same as this length right here, which is 19 inches. So now you have to ask yourself, when I'm going to fill out this equation, what pieces do I need? What pieces do I not need? So when you go to length and width, these are actually the only numbers you need, the 27 and the 15. Okay? Which really in this case is the 15 is the height of the triangle, so the 27 and the 15. The other length that you would obviously need in retrospect to this equation is the x. So really the 19 is not needed at all. They put that in there as a set of confusion to see, does this person really know what the shape is and how to do it. So I wanted to throw that in there for something for you guys. If you see a bunch of numbers in there, make sure you just break apart that shape and you really know what you're looking at. Thanks. Don't forget to subscribe, hit a like. If you have questions, feel free to comment. Talk to you later.